Shalom. This is an emergency broadcast alert giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakadash, in whom we are in great debt. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who will well continue doing so, standing firm in the eyes of terror while I learn this truth from. To the elders, the bishops, Akim and Aquab, salutations and blessings to the house of David. We are the hopeful elect. This is your brother Quasiyar with another quick one. Actually, it's not my video, it's Elder Salakia. Sorry for the interruption. Elder Malcolm made a video, and this is truly history repeating itself, man, because when they brought Judah, in those ships, they dumped a lot of the bodies shackled, for those sharks. And man, it's crazy, man. But the Lord always appoints someone that it'll reach the ears and eyes of his prophets. And with that said, let me just play the video. This is Elder Malcolm's video, GMS, Maccabee Spirit, 144.
Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen, that have the appearance of the heathen. This is not a so-called black thing, right? And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And this is a heavy lesson, all right? Because we're looking forward to the day that the 144,000, the 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes, the government that is going to be set up here on earth to supersede all governments that are here now. That's the kingdom of heaven. All right, on earth as it is in heaven, they will no longer be able to ignore the laws of the Bible and enforce the crooked, wicked laws of men with all their schemes. Because what you're looking at is migrants being put on cargo planes where the floor drops out of the bottom of it. Think about it for a moment. All right, when it will be easier and cheaper to fly them on commercial flights that has seating, you can get more of them in there. All right, so I'm gonna play a scripture and play a series of videos, all right, and bring out this very condemning information, which seems to be true. And being that we've been witnessing a genocide in Gaza for the last 2 years, I think we, unbeknown, have been witnessing a genocide among the Northern Kingdom right here in America. All right. And now and we have that saying, the Northern Kingdom gets it first and Judah gets it the worst. Now they're targeting Haitians. All right. They put some sort of legislation into place where they're going after the Haitians. So you'll soon see them being forced onto these cargo planes too. All right. So let me grab a scripture, which is Joshua is the first scripture, actually. 23 and 13. And it reads, "Know for a certainty that Yahweh, your power, will no more drive out any of the nations from before you. But they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish off this good land with Yahweh, your power, have given you." So the Lord, has let the hammer of the earth, the actual wicked, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Daniel 4:17, the basis of men, it has been given into them, and they hate us as a people. They know who we are. They know that Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are primarily make up the body of the Lord's true chosen people, the Israelites, that are actually spoken about in the Bible, right? That are scattered around the four corners of the earth, right? They're very well aware of that, and we've provided receipts and evidences of that. You have cognitive dissonance and cognitive denialism. That's your problem, all right? The evidence has been presented. You choose to look the other way, you know, or close your eyes and ignore it. That's on you. But we've already proven our point 1,000 times over. Okay? This is and he prescribes laws where he allowed mostly white males and some sellouts of our own, all right, deputized them. Some of them haven't even been deputized, so it seems. They're just, you know, they're ordering their uniforms off Amazon. You can order all the ICE, you know, paraphernalia, put on your vest, put on your mask, and they just riding down in POVs, privately owned vehicles, on people and snatching them up and kidnapping them, and they get money for it. And this is the end result. They end up going on these cargo planes. All right. And note that the bottom video is giving you all these charters for these cargoes and where they're going. All right, notice that. Okay, at the bottom of the screen. All these cargo planes. And this is Psalms 94:20. And it reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with him, with thee, which frameth mischief by law? All right, so they take these unrighteous decrees that actually cause injury and death, okay, and they put them into law, or they actually execute them as if they are law, because there's a lot of color of law, a lot of fraud going on. That's why America's on the verge of the Civil War. They're orchestrating that as well, because now what they're doing is they're taking power out of the executive branch and out of the judicial branch, and putting it in the executive branch. So therefore, and which they've been doing all along. That's why they're able to just, you know, these presidents and people are just able to just write up executive orders, this and executive order that, and just override the law of the land. When it tells you, and you know, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. There is no executive order or statute that can be written and pushed. That's
Salakia. I just wanted to add real quick that, you know, now that the elders going to talk about it, that they're going to start pulling Asians. There's a lot of so-called white people that live here in America that have a lot of relationships with Haitian men and women. That might just trigger that war.
It's in violation of the law of the land, and you have some people that want to stand true to that, and then you have the groups of people who just want to trample over that, and that's causing a problem too. So there's a lot happening, you know, at the same time. But you know, these pale males, so-called self-proclaimed white men, would put on these prosthetic masks and hands and make themselves look like, you know, so-called black men in appearance and commit crimes and everything of that nature. Now they're just putting on black masks where you can't see their face, and they don't have proper documentation or authorization to go out and do the racial hate and genocide that they're doing, as they're snatching up often even citizens. They have no criminal records whatsoever, because it's actually happening. And a lot of it's, you know, when you look at the Northern Kingdom, they voted for Trump. They love, many of them did, and they want to be, you know, because they're labeled as Caucasian or white, you know, until they commit a crime. Then all of a sudden they become Hispanic again. All right. Even the dark brown ones, they're on the documentation, they're listed as white until they're no more good to the so-called white man. So instead of faking the funk with numbers and putting fraudulent numbers to beef their numbers up, what they're actually doing is they're getting rid of you brown, you know, MFers. You know, with your, you know, Mary White, better the race. No, that's not what you're doing at all. You weakening the race. There's nothing strong about not being able to go in the sun and then SPF, which you didn't need until you started mingling with them. All right. But this is Hosea. So the ones that this is happening to, the hell with them. The Lord is allowing it to happen, but it still makes you angry. All right. But this is Hosea 9:13. It says, Ephraim, I saw Tyrus. Salakia, Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, planted in a pleasant place, but Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer. So Esau brings forth his children to the white man, so-called white man, and this is what's happening as payment for it. So I'm going to play a series of videos and let the video speak on the information that's happening with these cargo planes and why they've chosen cargo planes. So this one's first.
Your history friends here without makeup to share a very uncomfortable thought, and I hope I'm wrong.
And this chick is a little bugged out. You know, I've watched a couple of videos, but she's monitoring flight patterns, radars, with the flight patterns that her people are being put on. You know, and I imagine that people doing that because they're trying to figure out where their family members and friends are being taken to. So with that into consideration, listen.
I saw a video of shackled women, men, and children being put into the back of a cargo plane somewhere in Nebraska. I know that deportation of flights happen. My concern is that the particular plane they were putting them into is called the SC-7 Skyfan, which is loved for its ability to open the doors mid-flight to let parachuters out. And I've also seen a lot of a very particular plane. It is the Boeing C-17 Globemaster III, which is also one of the very few planes renowned for its ability to open the cargo doors at low altitudes. Do you know what happened in Argentina when they were becoming a dictatorship? There were a lot of people who disagreed, and those people were, of course, arrested. And after they were arrested, they were put on flights, which we didn't find out until after, on personal accounts of pilots, that they would take these flights full of people, all shackled together like prisoners are, and then fly over the ocean and open the cargo doors.
You hear that?
They were called the Argentinian death flights. I hope that the amount of these planes that I see popping on and off of the radar over the ocean, over international water, is just a coincidence. I'm trying to explain to you, they're not getting humane treatment in these detention facilities. You would think when they get out, they're going to tell somebody, where are the flights taking them? That is all. Good morning.
Okay, so that's video number 1. All right, video number 2.
I've got questions. I'd like to know why we are seeing these examples of ICE detainees being loaded specifically on cargo planes that have the kind of ramps that can be opened during flight. Research the dirty war, Argentina.
Yep.
This plane looks a lot like the kinds of planes that were used then. Just saying, it doesn't seem to make sense that you wouldn't use passenger planes to transport passengers. They are made to be highly efficient to do that. Why do you need to use a cargo plane? And specifically, why a cargo plane that has a rear ramp that can be opened in mid-flight? And why is it necessary when you are transporting non-violent ICE detainees to have them shackled? Maybe there are good explanations for all this. If you know them, please share.
Yeah. So why are they shackling non-violent detainees and putting them on cargo planes where the doors can open mid-ramp, mid-flight, or wherever the hell they are, okay? And point is that bodies are washing up in different parts of the world and in different parts of the sea, shackled with chains on them, and they're all of the so-called Hispanic persuasion for the most part. Yeah, and there's no media coverage on this at all. So there's in video number 3. Yep, bodies with shackled hands and feet wash up on beach vacation. Yeah, and it's funny, they will play the that was the soundtrack from Squid Games when they were playing the 1, 2, 3 red light, and then the people were being shot down. It basically seems what they're doing with these detainees. All right, they're playing 1, 2, 3 red light with a plane. Okay, here's more.
It's the dirty war. Argentina.
I tracked the deportation flights and I called that they were going to be something terrible on a mass scale before it started happening using Flight Radar back on my first account.
You hear that?
And now with this is setting off every fucking red flag in my body. I 1000% think that they are shackling these people and dumping them in the ocean.
Well, the bodies kind of say that they are.
And stuff like that. This administration is more than vile enough. The ICE and all of that does not give a shit about human rights. And if you think that you're safe because you look like me, you're wrong. They're trying to end birthright citizenship. They don't give a shit about who you are or what you do or where you live. If you're here in America, you are in danger.
The best way to understand it is that the law is super complicated, right? And it's very rare that you get to this kind of yes, no, up, down question on was something legal, was something illegal. Courts, I would say, sometimes go out of their way to avoid answering that question and instead answer the question, was this done in a legal manner? Was the process we used here correct? Because if the process we used here was correct, then a lot of times we don't even have to get to the question of whether or not the underlying thing was correct, right? Like that.
Spain's most popular tourist hotspots. Police in one of Spain's most popular tourist hotspots are police in one of Spain's most popular tourist hotspots are police in one of Spain's most popular tourist hotspots are investigating the gruesome find of bodies in the sea with their hands and feet tied up. At least 5 corpses have been recovered by the civil guard in the Balearic Sea off Majorca. They are believed to be migrants who had tried to reach the Spanish coastline via a dangerous crossing from Algeria, a journey which has claimed thousands of lives. Other bodies have been washing up on beaches, but these particular ones have been shackled, leading police to believe they had been murdered for some unknown reason. Police have opened an investigation to clarify the circumstances of the deaths. However, the investigations are almost impossible because the occupants of the boat are aware that they are in an irregular situation and do not report the abuses they suffer during the crosses from the Algerian coast. The discovery of these bodies has taken place over the last month, although the police have maintained total secrecy about the investigations.
The ICE and all of that does not give a shit about human rights, and if you think that you're safe because you look like me, you're wrong. They're trying to end birthright citizenship. They don't give a shit about who you are or what you do or where you live. If you're here in America, you are in danger. If you are on American soil, you are at risk of being put on one of these planes and having whatever is happening to them happen to you. Does not matter if you were born here, if your entire family as far back as you know comes from here, if you carry all of your papers with you every single day, they don't care. They are erasing people out of the system. They are deleting people's socials out of the fucking system. Why do you think Elon Musk got access to all of our fucking private information? Do you really think that all of these corrupt fuckers aren't working together? I use an app called Flight Radar, and this is making me like, I'm gonna go back onto it. I don't even know, it's the weekend now. tracking this. It's going to take a...
All right, so I played a little bit of another video that I added to that just to show you that they will cover anything that they will do. You know, they're going to blame it on something else, but you know that migrants on a boat are not going to come shackled. They're not going to be shackled, you know. They're not going to talk about the shackles. They didn't say anything about the shackles. They say an investigation is going to, they'll fucking investigate this forever.
A lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy, and it's going to be really fucking overstimulating and overwhelming for me, but like, this is fucking important. And if you guys are able to download the app, it is free to use. I pay the $12 or $13 a year to have like the mid-tier membership so that I can do like the playbacks and stuff, so that I can track things that have happened across time and pick certain days. It lets you go back, I think, a couple months in time.
Wow.
I can almost guarantee you that we're about to see some weird shit, and I think that's why I was tracking all of those planes just weirdly disappearing over by Guantanamo and just like that general area of all of the like Puerto Rico and Honduras and stuff like that. And all of us, it was the American Air Force specifically that was with AESG, which is like a special operations team that I was seeing kind of down south of Mexico. But I saw one of our planes running with them, which I've only caught one time, so I don't think I was supposed to catch that, but I have a screenshot of that somewhere. But I think it is so fucking important. We need to keep our eyes on the skies. They are doing some sketchy shit. Keep your community safe. Use your fucking voice. Get loud. Get on Flight Radar. Start tracking this shit with me. Because this is going to take all of us to speak up about, because they're just going to keep doing it. They've made it so clear. These people are making their, $1,000 a head off of this?
Yep.
Which I hope it's fucking worth it when they're caught and put in prison for life.
Oh, they won't be.
For life. That they got their little tiny stupid little checks and they're making like $40K a year. But I think that we all need to get into this and start watching this and start contacting our representatives, calling people. Join Operation Oracle with me, where you're calling these agencies and telling them, we have eyes on the skies. We are watching Flight Radar. We see the things that you are doing. We are being vocal. We are getting out in front of our representatives and going to these places. We are getting loud. We are using our voice, and we are standing up.
Yeah, so it's the evidence is overwhelming. It really is, and there's even more videos speaking on it. But the bodies washing up in the Gulf, in the Mediterranean, and in those different areas, like you said, around Puerto Rico and Honduras, these bodies washing up on the shore with shackles for vacationers. And I'm just waiting for some of that video evidence to pop up. All right, because I was just watching the mother of all shows with George Holloway, and he just spoke about how no one's watching the mainstream media and everyone's turning to their phone devices because people are recording and taking images of things on the ground and then uploading it, and then you watch the same story on the news and you don't see the same thing. The stories don't match to what's actually being viewed. So we're being lied to. All right. And Esau Edom is just murderous. And I actually am a firm believer at this point that America's as the Israelis are trying to clean out the Palestinians, the Edomites here over in America are also trying to clean out the Northern Kingdom, and shortly the Southern Kingdom. They leave just enough of them to be servants. All right, we're headed for all kind of problems. The farms are shutting down in California, and the farms are shutting down in Texas. The hundreds of tons of food is going to rot. Animals will have to be euthanized because no one's showing up to work to take care of these things, to harvest the food, to take care of the animals. So we have an orchestrated famine happening at the same time that they're putting people on planes and flying them out over the water, over deserts, and opening up the doors and letting them fall to their deaths. All right. And there is going to be a payment for this. But let me go to the book of Maccabees, man, because this isn't the first time that Esau just plotted to do, malicious, unbelievable, malicious crimes against humanity upon our people. This is 2 Maccabees 9:1, and it says, "And there came a time So about that time came Antiochus with the dishonor, with dishonor out of the country of Persia, which sits in Asia, by the way. All right. For they entered into the Western Asia, for they had entered into the city called Persepolis and went about to rob the temple and to hold the city, whereupon the multitude running to defend themselves with their weapons put them to flight. And it so happened that Antiochus, being put to flight of the inhabitants, returned with shame. All right. So that's what's about to happen to Esau, Edom, because he's coming to war against Jacob, but he's about to actually go to war with himself. All right. And then Jake is going to actually, the standard's going to be lifted up, and Jake is going to actually get the upper hand. But it says, now when he came to Ecbatane, news was brought him of what had happened unto Nicanor and Timotheus. The swelling with anger, he thought to avenge upon the Judeans, upon the Israelites. I hate that J word. And disgrace done unto him by those that made him flee. Therefore commanded he the chariot man to drive without ceasing and to dispatch the journey, the judgment of God now following him. For he had spoken proudly in his sort, and that will come to Jerusalem to make a common burial place for the Israelites. That's what he came to do. That's what Esau's doing now, spoken greatly against the gospel, against the truth. But the Lord Almighty, the power of Israel, smote him with an incurable, invisible plague. As soon as he had spoken these words, a pain of his bowels that was remediless came upon him, and sore torments, the most justly, for he had tormented others men's bowels with many strange torments. So he did all manner of wickedness to us and to our people at the time. And this was the southern kingdom that this was being done to, primarily because the northern kingdom was already here in the Americas at this time. All right. But I'm going to go up to verse 15. It says, as the touching of the Israelites, he had judged not worthy, so that he had so much as buried, but cast out with them, with their children, to be devoured of the fowls of the fowls and the wild beasts, and to make them all equals to citizens. So now when he got this disease, he's trying to change his heart and be kind unto them. And the holy temple, which before he had spoiled, he would garnish with godly gifts, and restore all the holy vessels with many more, and out of his own revenue defray the charges belonging to sacrifices. Yeah, and that also he will become an Israelite, or he became Jew. That's where the Jewish came from, because you got around this time was when one of the Maccabees, Simon Maccabees, force converted all those Edomites to follow our law, statutes, and commandments, and thus Jewishness was born. All right, so there's a difference between being Jewish and an Israelite. But it says, yeah, that also he would become a Jew himself, and through all the world that was inhabited, and declare the power of God. But for all his pains would not cease. For the just judgment of God was come upon him. Therefore, despairing of his health, he wrote unto the Israelites letters unwritten, containing form of supplication of matter. So now he kissed an ass, but it didn't save him from the horrible death that came upon him, where he couldn't even stand his own stench. So the same or worse is going to happen, because we have a power that's going to deliver us. I'm going to end with this. This is Baruch 4:21. And it reads, be of good cheer, O my children. Cry unto the Lord, and he will deliver you from the power of the hand of the enemies. All right. Verse 25, my children suffer patiently, and we know the time is short for them, and our time is coming. My children suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from God, for thy enemy have persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction and shall tread upon its neck. And we are so looking forward to that. So with that, we're going to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash, Kwam Yasharala, Abad Babal.
And the fact that those bodies showed up, untouched by the wildlife, like sharks, crocodiles, they weren't eaten by the wildlife. That shows you that the Lord meant those bodies to show up, because Edom thought that by throwing them in the middle of the sea somewhere, they would never have reached land. Got a big surprise coming for you. Shalom.